What's up, party people? Today I'm bringing you the best, most anticipated haunted houses at Halloween Horror Nights 2023 at Universal Studios Hollywood. We're going to be breaking down every single haunted house that I am most excited for this year's event. So that being said, let's jump right into it. But before that, make sure you subscribe with those bell notifications on. And if you do enjoy this video at the end, make sure to leave it a like. Guys, help us get to 12,000 subscribers before opening night. That is the goal right now. We're about 500 or so away. So please hit that subscribe button if you're new here and you want to watch Horror Nights videos, theme park videos, all that fun stuff, and help us get to 12,000 subscribers. Now keep in mind, my anticipation list is completely different from when I originally tweeted it out. So when I tweeted it out, I was just like, okay, just real quickly, here is my anticipation list. And then as I started to rewatch everything and started to think about it a little bit more, this became my final anticipation list for the houses that I think are going to be the best and the houses that I think are not going to be so much the best, but just the ones that I am least excited for and least anticipating. And really, I am excited for this entire lineup for the most part. Aside from the bottom two, which I'll explain why, this lineup's going to be great. Like, definitely one of the best lineups that I've ever seen for sure. So with that being said, let's start off with number 8. Number 8 on my list for anticipation for this year's event is Exorcist Believer. Now, Exorcist Believer, I believe, see what I did there?
It's contagious, isn't it? Laughing at people.
I believe it was like number 5 or so when I originally threw up an anticipation list, but it's moved down to number 8. And the only reason for that is because I was thinking about it more and more, and I was like, yes, well, I think I will still enjoy this house. Not knowing what exactly the detail is or the backstory or anything like that, since we haven't seen the new movie yet, is going to kind of make it less of an experience for me. Like, for me, I like to know exactly how the scenes are playing out compared to the movie. So obviously in October, we'll be able to compare the actual movie, the brand new movie, to the house. But until then, we won't know at all. And that's the only reason why it's at number 8. Now, I'm going to save my house rankings as far as when I walk through them for the very end until I watch Exorcist and until I get multiple run-throughs of the different haunted houses so I can really rank them the way that I think that they should be ranked. But for now, my anticipation list, Exorcist comes in at number 8. Up next on the list, we have number 7 in Holidays in Hell, a returning haunted house from 2019's Horror Nights event. And Holidays in Hell, the only reason why it's so low on my list is just because we've seen it before. Now, with La Llorona, it was a higher one on my list just because that was definitely like my all-time favorite house ever at the event, so it was so high in that regard, and it had been so long since we've seen it. With a returning house like Holidays in Hell, like Killer Clowns from Outer Space last year, it's relatively fresh, and that's why it is so low on my anticipation list. I still think Holidays in Hell will be good. I don't think that they're going to change a whole lot with it. It looks like they've added some form of fence in front of the facade, though. If you ride the tram tour, you can kind of see like a construction update on the facade. Looks like they've added some fence that wasn't there before as far as when it was located in the Parisian courtyard. But yeah, I think Holidays in Hell will relatively be the same house that we saw in 2019, which I'm excited for, but it doesn't compare to all the other houses on this lineup this year.
It's kill or be killed. Everybody's gotta choose.
And with that, of course, we move into number 6, Chucky, Ultimate Kill Count. Now, I've been freshening up on the series recently, the USA Sci-Fi series. And if you guys want to watch the Chucky series, the brand new one, you can go watch it on Peacock if you have a subscription for free. It is a very, very good series. Like, I was kind of skeptical, not going to lie, in the beginning when they first announced this and first released the trailer. But I have thoroughly enjoyed it. So I highly recommend you go watch this series before walking through the house at HHN this year. But yeah, Chucky Ultimate Kill Count comes in at my number 6. I think that there's going to be a lot that they're going to pull off as far as the technical side of things goes. I mean, Murdy has been hyping this house up a lot. He's been saying, like, wait till you see what we do with Chucky. Wait till you see what we do with Chucky. So I can't wait to see what he's talking about. Are they going to have some massive puppet like we saw in Alien versus Predator? Or is he talking like that, like it's going to be like a massive Chucky? Is there going to be some form of puppeteer that we haven't seen before? Will it be an animated Chucky like the one that we were teased at for the Monstros house with La Luchuza? I'm not too sure, but I'm just excited to walk through Ultimate Kill Count, and the facade is already coming along quite nicely. You have all the good guy dolls surrounding this warehouse, it looks like. So definitely plenty of scenes in the show too, that when you're watching the show, you can kind of just be like, yep, that'll definitely be a scene in the haunted house this year. So Chucky comes in at my number 6.
The Book of the Dead.
Number 5 goes to Evil Dead Rise. Originally at the very bottom of my anticipation list when I first tweeted it out. The only reason for that was because I was concerned that it was going to be exactly like Horror Hotel. And as you all know, there's a lot of comparisons with Horror Hotel and Evil Dead Rise last year just because it looked like it was supposed to be Evil Dead. I mean, all the scenes look relatively close to what you see in Evil Dead Rise. However, after watching Evil Dead Rise and after really thinking about it, there's so much that they can add into the already existing Horror Hotel layout that'll make the maze 10 times scarier, 10 times more terrifying. I mean, there's that giant puppet at the very end, a giant demon with all the different heads and the arms and the legs that I'm sure they're bringing to life. There's going to be some form of huge puppet or projection or something. I mean, regardless, I don't think that we won't see that puppet in this house. Like, they would be wrong not to put that in there. And if you guys have watched the movie, you know exactly which one I'm talking about. But yeah, there are going to be so many terrifying aspects of this house that I'm looking forward to. And with the different free shows and everything and the different narrations, like, I can already imagine the readings of them reading the different pages or trying to bring the Book of Dead to life in that pre-show area, similar to what they were doing for Horror Hotel to kind of build you up to the actual house, kind of giving you a backstory on the storyline of the entire house. Definitely see that happening. Same kind of thing with Evil Dead Rise in the inside area of the former Walking Dead location. So I'm excited for Evil Dead Rise, and that's why it comes in at my number 5.
We're shitty people, Joel. It's been that way for a long time.
No, we are survivors.
All right, but here we go. We're getting to top 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. But for number 4, we have Naughty Dog's The Last of Us. We have very rarely seen mazes, houses based around video games and just like all of the country, let alone Universal. And like I've talked about leading up to, you know, the full lineup being announced, The Last of Us, I think, has a lot of potential for the sole reason that they can base around the HBO series. Now, they're not theming it to the HBO series. It's going to be themed around the game, but at least they get a good idea of what the characters look like in real life, what some of these scenes look like in real life, since there is that HBO in real life series. And that's not to say that there's going to be a whole lot featured from that series, but like I said, I just think that there's a whole lot of content that they can pull away as far as inspiration goes from the HBO series, bringing the game to life in a real life haunted house experience. So I think Last of Us is going to deliver very good. Obviously, the infected is going to be the main terrifying creature in this, and it's going to scare the living crap out of everybody. I mean, seeing the cosplay at Midsummer Scream, I think there was an infected walking around the show floor. That just made me so excited. I even told Murdy that made me so excited.
I literally grew up before there were video games.
For this haunted house. So I think Last of Us is going to do very well, and I think the Mummy location is a perfect spot for it. I think that Stranger Things, Exorcist, stuff like that should be in a soundstage, so I'm glad it is with the big scenes and everything. But The Last of Us, you can still make the scenes relatively large in the Revenge of the Mummy extended queue. I mean, we saw that with Universal Monsters last year, how they were able to bring different huge scenes to life in that location. So Last of Us comes in at number 4. Number 3 on my list is going to go to Stranger Things Season 4. I mean, I'm a huge sucker for Stranger Things. I don't care how Stranger Things 2 did at HHN. Was it my lowest ranked house? Yes, it was. However, am I a sucker for all things Stranger Things? Yes, I am. I love Stranger Things so much, as the rest of the horror community does. I think there's so much content to work with Stranger Things 4 that is almost impossible for them to mess it up. So I'm really holding out hope for this. That's why it's my number 3 on this list. And if they have the confidence to do lights on behind the scenes tour for past members to the general public and not just media, then I think that they have confidence in the detail for the house experience. So really hoping this performs well. I'm excited to walk through it. I'm excited to see the Demogorgons again, the Demodogs again, the Mind Flayer. I'm excited to see everything brought to life in Stranger Things 4, and I definitely think that it won't disappoint us this year, especially being, once again, in a sound stage. And I mean, if you want to kind of play the logistics here, for Stranger Things 1 and 2, there were no facade in the sound stage. Well, for Stranger Things 4, there is indeed a facade, as we've seen with the doors open when they're constructing the soundstage house in there. So there's going to be a facade. I think that's a good kind of positive light as far as what we can expect for this maze. But anyways, my number 2 is going to go to Universal Monsters Unmasked. I think this goes at my number 2 just because of how much Murdy hyped it up at the Midsummer Scream panel. The facade, I'm kind of about. I mean, I'm not like a huge fan of the facade, to be honest, but will work out. Yes, it'll work out with the projections, and of course, they will have some form of interaction out there in that old newspaper stand. Walking through the different catacombs of Paris and everything, though, will be terrifying. Like I described in our most recent update, I think that's going to be like one of the scariest things. It's going to feel so real walking through the catacombs, and then of course, having all the different monsters pop out at you is going to make it all the better. I'm really excited to see the Invisible Man scene and see if they pull it off in some form of different way. I mean, I'm sure they're going to still use the black light kind of technique that they used in 2018, but I'm sure they're planning to have this scene on a much larger scale. And the big reason, like I said, that I'm excited for Universal Monsters this year is for the fear aspect of it. I think it's going to be extra scary this year, while also bringing tons of different scenes to life, and also in a good location in the H-Lot, the Curious George parking lot location. So that's why Universal Monsters Unmasked comes in at my number 2 for most anticipated houses. Alright, but here we go. My number 1, as you guys all expected it, and I've talked about it before, and this hasn't changed since my original anticipation list. Monstros, the monsters of Latin America. Now, I'm a huge sucker for Latin America themed horror stuff. We have the Dia de los Muertos thing going on in the Universal Plaza section. La Llorona was a huge hit last year, as it was in 2012 and 2011. And I just love all the theming for that. And I think Monstros is going to perform just as good. I mean, look at that freaking facade. The facade looks absolutely stunning. Definitely one of the most beautiful facades that we've ever seen at the Hollywood event. And I'm sure with all the lighting and everything, and Muerte running around out front, or, you know, creeping around out front, it's going to be amazing to look at night. And not only that, the different things that Murdy has promised to be featured in this house are going to be so impressive. I mean, the La Lechuza animated figure looks amazing. Something that they've never done before at Horror Nights. You know, like an animated figure like that compared to just a puppet and a blackout character moving the puppet. Oh man, this house is going to be insane. It's going to be amazing. But yeah, this house is going to be amazing. Definitely think it'll stay my number 1. Unless they were to like really mess it up, I think it'll be my number 1. Nonetheless, but I really want some of these houses to kind of compete with it, because I don't want to just be set on one thing that I'm anticipating and being like, oh yeah, I think that'll be number 1. I want something to change that. So let's see what this lineup holds for us, because Horror Nights kicks off literally in under a month. So very exciting stuff. I'm sure merch will be dropping soon. Different behind the scenes stuff will be dropping soon. I'm excited. I'm so excited. And we still have stuff like scare zones and shows and stuff to be announced that will most likely come out this week or next week or the week after that, or maybe even the week of Horror Nights. Who knows? I just want to know what scare zones we're getting to, other than just the one at the end of Monstros. But let me know down below in the comments section what your guys' anticipation list is. Do you agree with mine, or is it a little bit different? I'd love to see it down below. But as always, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. And if you're new here, please subscribe and help us get to 12,000 subscribers. It would mean a whole lot to get us there before opening night. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Positivity is key. And most importantly, remember to keep exploring. Peace out, everybody.